fly. Over the last few NFL seasons, I've had a rare opportunity to get to sit in an all-inclusive suite. Some connection through a family friend. We got tickets, and I've been to minor league baseball stadiums, and I've been to even on some stadium tours, but this was a different kind of ticket. I mean, this was like a special entrance into the stadium. It was a special elevator up to these carpeted halls with a wait staff that was ready to wait on you hand and foot. This was reclining, comfy seats, and not to mention the best seat in the house to watch a football game. This was really, really awesome. One of the things they kept telling me while I was there was, don't lose your ticket. Don't forget your ticket. Every time I would get up, I'd want to go roam the hallways and kind of see, how cool the back end of the stadium was. They would say, don't forget your ticket. Don't lose that. It was like this ticket was made of gold and I was in like a chocolate factory or something. It was crazy. All I'd have to do is show this ticket to the doorman, and hospitality was just at my fingertips. He would show me the nicer bathrooms, the nicer concession options. Everything just got better when I showed him my ticket. There is something about being a part of an exclusive club that makes you feel really good. That ticket made me belong. It made me feel like I was part of something. I mean, I wasn't anybody, but because I had that ticket, I was somebody. In this small group session, we're going to take a look at Acts chapter 15. Now, in this chapter includes what will come to be known as the Jerusalem Council. Over the course of church history, big leaders in the church would come together and make decisions on really, really big issues. And here was one of the first, and here's one of the big issues. When Jesus told his disciples to go into all the world, he told them they would be his witnesses in Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. The problem came when they got outside of Jerusalem. They started to encounter more and more people who were not Jewish. They didn't know anything about the Jewish laws and customs. You see, this was starting to make some of the Jewish Christians really, really uncomfortable. For years now, they had adhered to the Jewish laws and customs that made them part of an exclusive club. Well, now you had these Gentile Christians coming into the church that didn't know anything about that. And to the Jewish Christians, they just didn't have a ticket. They couldn't get in the club. They hadn't kept the laws and the rules. There were two main issues. One was that their food wasn't being prepared properly. Secondly, the men hadn't been circumcised. And so the big question out of the Jerusalem Council was, are we going to allow them into the church without adhering to the codes and customs that we have all along? Now, you'll get their answer as you read in the text, but I want to point out verses 10 and 11 specifically. See, as they're debating and going back and forth on whether they should allow Gentiles into the church, Peter stands up and he gives this speech. And this would have been a turning point in the debate, and maybe you could even say in church history. Look at what he says in verse 10. Now then, why do we try to test God by putting on the necks of the Gentiles a yoke that neither we nor our ancestors have been able to bear? No, we believe it is through the grace of our Lord Jesus that we are saved, just as they are. Peter makes it clear which side of the debate that he is on. He warns the Jewish Christians, what you think you're holding on to, what you think's getting you into the club, it's not the ticket that you assume it is. There's only one thing that gets you into the club, and it was ultimately the thing that would also save the Gentile Christians, and that is grace, and grace alone. How many times do we heap other things on top of just grace to include people into the church? It tends we want to use the grace card as like the ultimate catch-all, and when we fail, it's our safety net. When we stumble, it's there to catch us. But when others don't live up to our man-made standards, we judge them or we exclude them from our community altogether. But when it comes to the church, the only ticket to belong is grace. It's true. We all belong. But it's not about the amount of money that you have or the background that you came from or the color of your skin or any of that. It's only grace. Grace is what gets you in the door, and grace is your only ticket to belong. And if that's the case, then shouldn't we all be reminding each other as often as possible, don't forget your ticket. Don't forget about grace. Don't forget grace. As you read the text together, let's consider what it would look like to become a more grace-filled church, or even more importantly, a grace-only church.